Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Anthem of Impact Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Jason, as always. And today I will be reviewing the episode that happened last night, the Genesis episode from Impact Wrestling. Excuse me. I'm getting a little choked up. Sixth Sense. It's all gone. Now, this was, I think, I saw somebody else say this on Twitter. This is probably their best overall show from start to finish in a very long time. And I have to agree. I think this show was really good. And again, I was excited because I knew this card looked really good going in. And I was excited because it's the end of a certain kind of era, and here we go now. Now we're finally, next Thursday, we're finally going to get to see what Scott D'Amore and Don Callis and what their vision for Impact Wrestling is going to be starting next Thursday. Which some of us have kind of already got some hints at, obviously, through spoilers. Whether we wanted to see them or not, doesn't matter. So anyway, let's just go ahead and start diving in. First of all, I thought the opening video package that they did, that kind of the introduction, the intro video package, I thought was done very, very well. Was really cool. It definitely made the episode feel like a big deal. It really had you get really hyped up for what was about to come. But the first match of the night was Matt Sydal versus EC3. I think these two guys oddly have some really good chemistry together. I've liked any other time that they've wrestled, the first Grand Championship match, and then, of course, the one with the three-way where they added in Fallah Bahh, because there was that one round where it was mainly just those two going at it, and Fallah Bahh was kind of on the outside. And then this one, I thought this was another just really good match. It was well-paced. Matt Sydal stepped up his really, fierce striking that he can do and make it look really stiff and good. And of course, EC3 can really sell. Of course, Matt Sydal ends up getting the win. Again, they gave this match a lot of time. That'll be kind of a reoccurring theme throughout the night. They gave most of the matches a lot of time, and it was really good because they let the match breathe. It lets them sell. It lets them tell a story in the ring. And I thought they did a really good job on this one. And EC3's always been good about being a good storyteller in the ring, which was obviously the story was he was the superior guy. Not only is he bigger, stronger, in his words, faster, even though I highly doubt he's anywhere close to as fast as Matt Sydal. He was the superior athlete, the superior wrestler, and he's also a champion. He's a winner, and Sydal's a loser. He's a choker. And they told that story very well. Definitely thought it was really good. That's definitely one hell of a way to not only kick off a show, but if you're trying to kick off a show that you're trying to come across as almost pay-per-view quality, you can't start off with a better match than that. Plus, a title change, it gets people going, gets people excited what might happen throughout the rest of the night. So then we go right into the Knockouts Championship match, Allie versus Laurel Van Ness. And again, they got super physical with this match. They let it go a while. They let it breathe. They were telling the story. Allie getting more confident as the match went on. Laurel having to stoop to different means to try to get the upper hand several times. And of course, how she won with, knocking Allie into the ref and then grabbing her title and hitting Allie to finally get the win. And I finally love that throughout this match, you could tell she's not wrestling anymore as the character Allie. She's just wrestling as how she can, how Laura Dennis or Cherry Bomb can. And I love it. I mean, she still sells a little bit as far as she's sometimes whenever she hits certain moves, she looks kind of surprised and really proud of herself. She still does that a little bit, but it's nowhere close to how it was whenever she first started wrestling for this company with that gimmick. Again, gave it a lot of time. There's not much, there's not really much you can say whenever you pick apart stuff. Whenever the matches are good, and you're happy with them, it's hard to sit here and really say a whole lot about it because what else can I say? Because it was great. Storytelling good, everything good. So, it was good. And then, of course, we got into the next match, which is Lashley versus Moose. Wow, I didn't see this match coming. Like, as far as what all was around it. Again, they went straight into like this almost kind of a shoot MMA match. At least like the way that Lashley was coming after him. So that's the way he was able to take the upper hand. Again, another super physical match. Now these two are physical, period, no matter what match they're in. Whenever they're going at it at each other, it's a whole nother level. I think was really well done. As I was watching this, all I kept thinking to myself, and I wrote this in my notes, sucks Lashley is gone, because these two guys, from what we've already seen so far, if you could follow it, and I know that, obviously whenever I wrote this was before I saw the ending, but these two guys could, I think, have one of those all-time rivalries. And, like whenever you think of like Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, you think of AJ and Joe, AJ and Daniels, you think of, inside this company, Abyss and Christian, Lashley Moose could be that guy. Matt Hardy, EC3. I really think that Bobby Roode and James Storm, these are things that have been great rivalries because two great people are going at it all the time. And Lashley and Moose, I think, really could have done that for Impact again. And they did do it for so long, but I think like if they kept going and Lashley stuck around, they kept this going for another year or so or 2 years, oh my gosh, like that would have been it'd be a lot of fun to watch and be able to witness and sit there and say, hey, I'm able to see what these guys are doing. And it's pretty cool. Throughout the match, they kept teasing the Lashley KM kind of tension. KM kept trying to help, and Lashley was like, "No, I don't need your help. Stop," And then because it got to that one part where KM was trying to put in a table. I'm like, is he purposely trying to distract Lashley right here? Because as far as I don't remember them saying it was no DQ. The match definitely wasn't going like a no DQ, so the ref's standing right there watching, and KM's just like, hey, look at this big, huge object that you can't hide behind a ref, use it. And it was just kind of really weird. So that spot was kind of, done a little odd, but it definitely fed to the whole, what we ended up getting there towards the end. One real cool spot I thought was a really big bump for somebody like Lashley to take is whenever he's sitting on the top turnbuckle and Lashley did the drop kick to Lashley, and Lashley just kind of falls onto the floor. Like, that's a big tumble for that much mass just to take. AJ's somebody that does it a lot, but AJ's like super limber and not quite as big, and like he kind of knows how to gracefully do that. Lashley's got a lot of mass falling down, man. Gravity's pulling you down. So I was like, oh man, that looked like that really hurt. And then all of a sudden, and then another cool spot, Lashley pulls off a Hurricane Rana straight into a spear. That was awesome. That was a really cool sequence of moves. And then of course, one thing led to another, and Moose got the win. I was kind of surprised that Moose ended up actually getting the win. I'm very happy about it. I think he deserves that win. It's time to really kind of now... I love how they've slowly been building Moose, because they've kept him at the main event type scene. Once he dropped... first he made the Grand Championship seem like a big, big deal. He was super proud of that. Then they moved him off of that, but they still didn't like shooting right into title matches, really. They put him in big profile matches, the D'Angelo Williams match, the Stephen Bonner match, and other things like that. Definitely put him in big time feuds, but it wasn't like they started throwing him world title shots and world title matches all the time. So it's been kind of this nice gradual build of, you definitely see him as a legit threat. You see him as a world champion. Now it's just time to let him get some wins like he just got over Lashley and move on. Of course, then after the match, we got kind of what we been waiting for, in a way. Dan Lambert gets his up and comings. And of course, I thought overall that this match was absolutely amazing. Both guys killed it. They told a great story as well. Again, they had time. They gave them time. Sometimes that's all that matters. I could care less if we have 8 matches on a show, on a 2-hour show. If we have 4 or 5 that are given 15 to 20 minutes each match, awesome. I'm totally down with that because then they can tell a story and you can get invested into the match. And that's what they did here with Genesis. Then, of course, after the match, Dan Lambert starts ripping into Lashley. Lashley gets mad, pushes him, so KM gets in the middle of the way. Lashley spears KM, throws Dan Lambert into the ring. Dan Lambert turns around straight into a Moose boot. Then Moose sets up the table, and out of nowhere, he just says, "Go ahead," and Lashley spears Dan Lambert through that table. Oh, that looked terrible. Now, whenever they showed a close-up replay of it, you can see it was one of those. It was a gimmicked table that had several different breaks in it already. But I don't care how many breaks it has, what it is. I'm not doing it. I'm not going through that. So everything, with all the promos that Dan Lambert has done, the way he's putting Lashley over and KM over now, and everything that he's been asked to do and the way he has acted, the way he's done his promos, the way he conducts himself in the ring in front of people and backstage in promos. And then to do this, he's been in kind of a couple different matches, obviously, and now to take a table spot, he's got a lot of respect from this guy. And I'm sure he's got a lot of respect from other Impact Wrestling fans that have had the great treasure and experience of watching him on Impact Wrestling here these last several months. So I think it was really cool. Then we see basically it was a Lashley face turn, and him and Moose showed a lot of respect for each other. So it'll be interesting where they go now with this, starting with the next set of tapings. As far as the relationship between Moose and Lashley, if they even bring it up anymore, or what they do. But I thought that was a great match. It was a good way to do it. This match, again, there was a lot of good matches, but I have to say, I think overall, if you include the story part of it, if you include the after the match, beat down of Dan Lambert, I think this was easily match of the night. Nothing against anybody else in any of the other matches. I do think they were all really good. I just think that if you take it all as a whole, include everything that they were doing, I think this was easily match of the night. Then we get to probably my least favorite match of the night. Andrew Everett versus Taiji Ishimori. Now, I'm not saying that this match was terrible. I'm just saying, they brought it to us already in progress. One of those pre-tape shows, or pre-tape matches that were taped elsewhere. It was taped in Noah in Japan. Or at Noah in Japan. I know it's not in Noah. But, it wasn't a terrible match again, like I said. It's just sometimes I can't get into it as much. I do think it is kind of cool whenever they do things like this. But again, I've always said this. I want to see the full match. I don't want to see this randomly half put together, edited up, cut up version of a match. That's one of the reasons why I don't really watch a whole lot of New Japan on Access, because not all the matches, but sometimes some nights they'll try to fit 3 matches into one hour show, and they edit them, they cut them up. It's kind of hard because you're gonna miss certain things. Yeah, it might be kind of boring spots, but those are the spots that are there for a reason, for you just to really ingest what you're watching and really dive in and invest in it. So again, some cool spots. Ishimori had some really cool spots. Andrew Everett was really good. I'm sure these two would really have a really good match together. I still, and I'm sorry to say this, I'm not trying to do any hashtag body shame or nothing, but Andrew Everett needs to at least semi-work out, right? I'm not asking I'm not saying he needs to get in this amazing build shape. I mean, trust me, coming from this guy, I'm not in great shape either. But I'm also not a professional wrestler that's on TV that has to try to sell you the fact that I can do some things. So again, I'm not saying he needs to get jacked up or whatever, but he's got like this huge, just like beer gut, almost like that's kind of how it looks like. And so like whenever he's doing certain moves, it looks just really odd and really weird. You know, like as a professional wrestler, like you're getting paid to do this. Um, and if your gimmick's not something like the Beer City Bruiser in Ring of Honor, um, you know, or like a Samoan guy, or a big guy like a sumo guy like Falaba or something like that. Like if that's not your gimmick, you don't need to be that big. Like you don't need to have like this odd look to you. But that's just my little thing. That sometimes it just whenever I watch an Andrew Everett match, like I can respect what he does and like the moves that he makes and everything else. I just feel like you're never gonna move anywhere in this business if you don't show that you're willing to work hard for it. And by that I mean get into shape of some kind. I'm not saying like he needs to become Mr. Olympian or nothing like that. Just try to cut some weight a little bit, and that's about it. But anyway, on to the main event. But again, that was like one really quick match too. It was like really quick. I think it was just something in there to really kind of get some filler in for a couple minutes. I don't know, but it was again. I'm sure it was great. I'm sure if you saw it from front to finish, it was really good. The spots we saw, some great spots. Maybe not overall the best match, but some really great spots. Anyway, so now to the main event. We got Eli Drake versus Johnny Impact versus Alberto El Patron in the 6 Sides of Steel. That's going to be probably the main thing I'm going to miss from the no longer having 6 sides. Whenever you have 6 sides of steel, the cage match just looks kind of cooler. Like instead of just your normal 4-sided cage, like the 6 sides, it just kind of looks a little more brutal and kind of cooler. I thought this match was actually a lot of fun too. It's kind of like what all their matches have been, or anytime they've been interacting with all 3 of them. There's no, okay, for this little bit, me and you were going to team up and beat this guy. Okay, oh no, now I'm going to be, no, like pretty much, outside of for one move, they all just kept beating up each other. There was no real team up. It was very fast paced, going all after each other. It was just big time, it was just brawling, not a whole lot of wrestling moves, big time brawling, throwing each other all over the place. Trying to escape, trying to run over, and obviously what you would expect out of a cage match. Again, it told a good story of all 3 men that you could tell like they need this title. They all 3 of them need that title. That's how it felt whenever they're wrestling each other, especially whenever even they're talking about it too. Like they need that title. Then we kind of get towards the end of the match. Looks like Patron's going to escape through the door, but then Adonis says, and slams that door right on Alberto El Patron, knocks him out. Then, of course, you go over to the other side of the cage. Johnny Impact and Eli Drake are both climbing over, trying to race to get to the bottom. But again, Adonis comes to save the day again, gets right behind Johnny Impact and grabs him off the cage, so then he can't jump to the ground, and then Eli jumps to the ground, and he gets the win. Again, I'm fine with this, because, especially whenever you're a heel, in this type of match, I'm totally fine with winning in like a chicken shit heelish way, because that's kind of how you can weasel out of like this type of odds against you type match, especially since they threw in the stipulation of if Eli Drake wins, then both Impact and Patron can no longer challenge for that title while Eli Drake has it. So then, so that puts even more heat on him, and he did it by cheating, which gives even more heat, and that's what you do for a heel. I understand some people's gripes of, but you can also have dominant badass heels. That's true. Not all of them have to be. The dominant badass heels are guys like, Brock Lesnar, a Bobby Lashley. You could maybe even turn somebody like James Storm into a badass heel because, he's the beer drinking cowboy guy that, doesn't give a shit. Those are the type of badass heels, Stone Cold. Pretty much anybody else, you kind of have to have as a chicken shit heel. I think sometimes now, whenever somebody makes them a chicken shit heel, they do it too much. So then it becomes like, well, why are you even a champion? Like Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins was a chicken shit heel in WWE whenever he first won the title and all that stuff. And it became to a point where you're like, you're no longer legitimate in my eyes of being an actual champion. And that's just kind of how sometimes it is across the board with heel champions, because they don't want to, squash too many of the up and coming guys as a heel, because you want to have, you're still trying to keep a really good main event scene. But sometimes I think it's just lazy booking to let it be done by cheating or something like that, which is unfortunate, but that's how it goes. But anyway, that is all I got for you today. Check back this upcoming week. I'm thinking about doing a couple of different videos. Maybe another, I'll book it. If not, I'll probably be gearing up, previewing what's to come, and maybe talk about just some ideas that I might have. I don't know, but to find out, to always be in the know, please hit that Spotify button, that subscription button, and hit that little bell button. It notifies you whenever I do hit a video. Also, go follow me on Impact, at Anthem of Impact. I usually try to send out a tweet. Like, obviously, every Friday, I'm not going to send out a tweet before I do one of these videos, because these come out every Friday. I will send out a tweet if I'm like, hey, I can't do it today. Look for it on Saturday or Sunday or whatever other day I'm doing it. But for all my other videos that really aren't on a schedule, I usually try to tweet out, hey, look out for this video coming later today. So, go follow me on Twitter, like I said, at Anthem of Impact. Like these videos. Go check out some other ones. I got some good ones out there, I book the reformation of Decay. I book the rebranding of Impact. I talk about why I think New Japan Pro Wrestling should want to work with Impact. And I also talk about, on some other videos, why Woken gimmick isn't working in the WWE. And why WWE fans got what they wanted. So anyway, until next time, Impact Nation, peace.